Freakier Friday is the long-awaited sequel to the 2003 movie Freaky Friday. We follow again Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan as Anna and Tess, where they discover that lightning may indeed strike twice as they navigate the mirage of challenges that come when two families merge. That's all. Pretty much any spoilers, you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. Freakier Friday. By a show of hands, how many of you have gotten freaky on a Friday? All of y'all. Go to jail. So when it comes to that original Freaky Friday, and by original, I mean the 2003 one, I am very much aware there is a 1976 Freaky Friday. I do find that funny that the 2003 movie is actually a remake of an older film. And did you also know that's not the only reboot or remake of Freaky Friday? Disney attempted to bring the property back with a 2018 Disney Channel movie. Insanity. Too much freakiness on a Friday, if you ask me. But when it does come to my thoughts on the 2003 Freaky Friday, I like that movie. It's an enjoyable one. It was one of those movies back when, kids actually watch cable or could afford it. But it was one of those movies that they would repeatedly play on Disney Channel. And whenever it would come up, I'd watch it, I'd enjoy it, and I'd have a good time. I have fond memories with that 2003 movie, but I was never a diehard fan where I was like, where's the sequel? Where's that movie? I need to see more freakiness on a Friday. But in the current era with Disney and them just trying to reboot, remake, sequelize anything from the 90s or 2000s, because that's where a lot of nostalgia is today, it was honestly no surprise that Freaky Friday would be one of those movies. But I'm still waiting on Sky High. When you gonna get to that one, Disney? But what is interesting about Freakier Friday is that this movie was greenlit and made at the time when they thought, hey, as many movies as we can for Disney Plus. Get to it, guys. And that was what this movie was originally made for, is to go to Disney Plus. But Disney has kind of backed away from that model, and now they're like, hey, we're back with full theatrical. So I went into the theater just kind of hoping to have a good enough time, a decent time like the original 2003 one. And not freaky enough of a Friday for me. If you are a fan of that original Freaky Friday, this movie is gonna do enough and keep you smiling all the way through. It was a real treat to see Lindsay Lohan back in that role alongside Jamie Lee Curtis. They still have that good chemistry, and they even kept the character arcs that they earned from the last movie, where they went through a freaky experience and it brought them closer together. You see that bond and that closeness still here. It's not a perfect relationship. They still have other kinks to work out, and with now Anne being a single mom, you do see Jamie Lee Curtis's character being a little too overprotecting, still wanting to parent both her daughter and granddaughter, and there's enough wiggle room in there to know that they're good, but there could be some improvement, hence this movie. There's also plenty of Easter eggs, cameos, and references to that first film. I haven't watched Freaky Friday, I don't know, I want to say like in 7, 8, it's been a long time. But even I, when watching this movie, was like, oh, I know who that guy is. Oh, I know that joke. Oh, they're repeating that scene from the original. It's honestly a lot of that formula that they do now with something that I do kind of consider this one almost a legacy sequel, because it's doing that formula of bringing in the old cast, but a lot of fresh new blood to maybe do more. I don't know if they want to do more, but if this made money, I wouldn't put it past Disney. So those old diehard fans or people who just have a real comfort with that original film, you're going to be satisfied with what this movie does. There's nothing, I think, too atrocious or so against the characters that you're just going to be appalled by. On that same note, I think there was a genuine attempt to try and capture some sort of genuine heart in this movie. There's an emotional beat attached to one of the members that gets Freaky Friday'd, and you can see the movie is trying to put in that effort to give you that emotional punch, get you in the feelings. Whether you actually get to tearing up will be up to you, but I could see it being emotional for some. But really, that's kind of like the biggest positives, I guess, I can give on this. It's like, it is nice to see those characters back. The dynamics between them are sweet. The story attempts to be fun and updated for modern audiences. But if I'm jumping out to the things I'm like mixed to negative on, I wish I liked it more. Like, some of the things I think really hold it back for me is the four-way Freaky Friday. That's such a good premise with that 2003 movie, right? A rebellious teen daughter and a mom who thinks she knows it all, has a smart, good career, is just trying to get remarried, find love again. You switch and then walk a couple miles in each other's shoes and you learn a lesson. Like, simple, easy, good formula that could even be repeated over time. With the four-way split, It was fun at first, but then around the halfway mark and definitely towards the end, it became tiresome. It didn't work as well. The charm and the swapping of each other's places just didn't work all that well for a lot of the story arcs. Like, I think it still worked really well when it came to like Lindsay Lohan and her new daughter Harper switching places. That's where you find a lot of the similar stuff that the first movie was doing, is like, oh, my mom's not lame. She actually has a cool job. She has an awesome life. She is a cool person. She's not lame like I thought. And for the mom, it's like, oh, I thought my kid was exaggerating and always making stuff up, but it is hard being a teenager. I forgot. But it was the new stepdaughter coming into this family, Lily, who I felt was just like the hardest character to root for, get into, like. I have no idea why they decided to throw in a British accent into this, just so that they can, I guess, make jokes where other characters are like, oi, let's go to school. But she has a tragic backstory, and it's one of the key emotional parts of this movie that I felt could have actually have hit and was on the right track of being something that added a lot of heart to this movie. But with her being the one that switches with Jamie Lee Curtis's character, that swap in itself, there's not a lot to offer story-wise with that. The only thing that offers is room for old people jokes. Oh my, this movie loves old people jokes, and maybe because I've hit my 30s, I'm offended, and I'm canceling you, Disney. Now, I'm still young and spry. I got a Spider-Man shirt. I'm not that old, right? Right? Well, there's good story elements between Lindsay Lohan and her younger daughter swapping. When it came to the grandma and Lily, there just wasn't much to be provided there. And it makes this four-way swap almost just too complicated and convoluted for the movie, where they maybe should have just again stuck to two people switching instead of this four-way dynamic. I don't think it ever gets to the point where you're like super confused and going, wait, who's here again? Who's that person? It does take some adjusting, and there is that thing of you have to tell yourself, okay, wait, this is actually Harper talking through Lindsay Lohan's body. Okay, this is Lily talking through that. That's this girl being this. And like I said, for like 80% of the time, it just results into, oh, look how old Jamie Lee Curtis is, you know? And which, yeah, those jokes can be funny, but it just felt like it was such an overplayed joke as the movie went on. I also just don't think there was as many good hijinks or crazy relatable things that happened. That's something that I thought the first movie did really well. Like Jamie Lee Curtis being in the body of her daughter and realizing, oh, the teacher she has actually is out to get her. She is being treated extremely harsh at school. I thought she was just exaggerating. I don't think there's any of those like relatable, interesting situations here other than, again, like the adults getting into the kid's body and going on a food binge. It's like, oh, I can eat cotton candy, churros, and a hamburger with no diarrhea for me today. It also has a lot of that updated modern humor where it feels like the movie does try extra hard to be just super relevant. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis's character now has a therapy podcast, which, yeah, I guess everyone's got podcasts. They're throwing out words like gaslight. Lindsay Lohan is now like a soft parent when she's like, 30-minute warning, babe, I'm respecting your space, but we gotta get to school. Still respecting your space. Funny stuff, I get it, but it felt like it was almost trying too hard to be modern. I will say I enjoyed the dad love interest character in this movie, Manny Jacinto, who plays Eric Davis. I actually found to be a charming, fun part of the movie, the little scenes he get. I remember watching him in the show Good Place and thinking he was just a funny, dumb character, and he's completely different in this one, but it works. So really, I think it was a fine movie. I wish some of the hijinks were better. I wish the swapping worked better than just being an excuse for old people jokes, but I wouldn't say there's anything like atrocious or just so awfully bad in this movie. It just kind of feels like it's trying to hit a lot of those similar beats from the first movie, but never quite reaching the glory or icon status of that first movie. And it's just something that always ends up happening with these long-awaited movies, is that they'll sometimes just always be in the shadow of their predecessor, and for most fans, it'll be just fine enough. So when it comes to Freakier Friday, I'm gonna give action 2.5 stars. I mean, there's not a lot of hijinks or crazy things that go on. There's like a car chase here and there, but I was kind of hoping for more in the hijinks department with them swapping bodies. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2 stars. I wish I found more of the humor in this movie funny. Like, yes, there was 1 or 2 moments that I was laughing, but I kid you not, it felt like 80-70% of the humor was just like, look how old Jamie Lee Curtis is, how much it's sucks to be an old person. I kind of would have liked there to be more variety in the jokes. Drama in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. I think they actually did have something genuine and heartfelt with Lily's backstory, but she was such an insufferable character. It was so hard to like her. By the time the emotional beats with her came in, I was kind of checked out. And for how they decided to swap some of the bodies, I felt like it actually diminished those heartfelt scenes. And suspense the movie, I'm gonna give it 2 stars. A pretty family friendly movie. It's a Disney film. You kind of see a mile away where a lot of the story plot points are going, especially if you've watched the original. So when it comes to the 3 C's, this is a movie that's best going to be suited to the casual viewer. There just sadly isn't anything that memorable even for the diehard fans coming into this one, and critics are just going to see this as a rinse and repeat sequel that should have happened years ago. So for Freakier Friday, I think that this is one that you should just wait to rent/stream at home.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
Again, that's just my opinion on Freakier Friday. Like I said, if you are curious to watch this movie, I'd still say do it, but I'd say wait till it shows up on Disney Plus, because it's going to be there within like a month or two. I don't think there's anything huge in here to make you to rush out and go watch it in a theater, unless, hey, you're just that diehard of a fan. Again, that's just my opinion on the movie, guys. Please let me know what you thought about Freakier Friday if you got around to seeing it. Which is your favorite Lindsay Lohan movie? Like I said, I've always been a Parent Trap guy. What other early 2000s or late 90s Disney movie you think should get the reboot sequel treatment? Luck of the Irish or Sky High? Those are my picks. And again, everything, be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.